Most people think feeling lost means they're behind, that they missed their window, that everyone else figured it out and they're still wandering in the dark. But that's not what being lost actually means. Being lost doesn't mean you're off track. It means you're between tracks, and that changes everything. Here's what nobody tells you. The feeling of being lost isn't a symptom of failure. It's a symptom of growth that hasn't caught up with itself yet. You're not broken. You're transitioning. And transitions always feel like chaos before they feel like clarity. I've been there. I've watched people stay there. And I've seen what separates the ones who break through from the ones who just keep spinning. So, in the next 5 minutes, you're going to learn why feeling lost is actually a signal, not a sentence. What you're supposed to do with that signal. And the one mental shift that turns confusion into direction faster than anything else. Let's start with the part that hits hardest. You feel lost because your old identity stopped working, but your new one hasn't formed yet. Think about it. A few years ago, you had a clear sense of who you were, what you liked, what you wanted, what made sense. But then something shifted. Maybe you graduated. Maybe you left a relationship. Maybe you achieved a goal and realized it didn't feel the way you thought it would. And now you're standing in this weird in-between space where the person you used to be doesn't fit anymore, but the person you're becoming isn't clear yet. That's not failure. That's evolution. But it feels like failure because we're taught that clarity should be constant. That you should always know who you are and where you're going. But that's a myth. Identity isn't static. It's iterative. You outgrow versions of yourself the same way you outgrow clothes. And the gap between who you were and who you're becoming, that gap is where the lost feeling lives. Here's how you use that. Stop treating lost like a problem to fix, and start treating it like information to process. Ask yourself, what version of me recently stopped working? What did I used to care about that doesn't move me anymore? What used to feel right that now feels off? Those answers tell you what you've outgrown. And once you know what you've outgrown, you can stop trying to force yourself back into it. You stop trying to revive the old version. You let it go. And that creates space for the new one to show up. Most people stay lost because they keep trying to go backward. They think clarity is behind them. So they chase old goals, old routines, old versions of themselves. But clarity is never behind you. It's ahead of you. And the only way to reach it is to move forward even when you don't know where forward leads yet. But here's where it gets tricky. Because moving forward when you're lost doesn't mean picking a random direction and hoping it works out. It means experimenting with the next smallest version of yourself. People think you need a vision to stop feeling lost. A 5-year plan. A big purpose. A calling. But that's backwards. You don't find direction by thinking your way to it. You find it by doing small things and noticing what pulls you. What gives you energy instead of draining it? What makes time disappear instead of dragging? What feels like resistance you want to push through instead of resistance you want to avoid? That's your compass. Not some grand revelation, not a lightning bolt of clarity, just the small, honest signals your body and mind give you when you're moving in a direction that fits. So instead of waiting for the full picture, you test. You try something for 2 weeks and see how it feels. You have a conversation. You start a project. You learn a skill. You show up somewhere new. And you pay attention to what happens inside you when you do. Because the truth is, clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from pattern recognition. You try 5 things. 3 feel wrong. 2 feel interesting. You go deeper into the 2. 1 fades. 1 sticks. That's how direction builds. Not from a single decision, but from a series of small, honest experiments that reveal what actually matters to you now, not what used to matter or what you think should matter. And this is the part most people miss. Feeling lost isn't the absence of direction. It's the presence of too many directions without a way to choose. You're not stuck because you have no options. You're stuck because you're afraid of choosing wrong. You're waiting for certainty, for proof, for a guarantee that if you commit to something, it'll work out. But that guarantee doesn't exist, and waiting for it is what keeps you frozen. So here's the shift. Stop treating decisions like they're permanent, and start treating them like experiments. You're not choosing your forever path. You're choosing your next step. And your next step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be honest. It has to be something that feels true to where you are right now, not where you were or where you think you should be. That's how you stop being lost, not by finding the answer, but by giving yourself permission to move without needing the full map. Because the map doesn't reveal itself until you start walking. And the moment you start walking, even without certainty, the lost feeling begins to lift. Not because you suddenly know everything, but because you're no longer paralyzed by not knowing. Here's what this looks like in practice. You wake up tomorrow, and instead of asking, "What's my purpose?" you ask, "What's one small thing I'm curious about right now?" And you do that thing, not forever, just for today. Then tomorrow, you ask again, and you keep asking. And somewhere in that process, patterns emerge, themes show up, energy shifts, and what felt like aimless wandering starts to feel like exploration. And exploration, over time, becomes direction. So if you're feeling lost right now, this is what you need to hear. You're not late, you're not broken, you're not missing something everyone else has. You're in transition. And transitions are supposed to feel unstable. That's not a sign you're doing it wrong. That's a sign you're doing it right. Because growth always feels like losing your footing before you find new ground. The version of you that's trying to emerge, it's already there. It's just waiting for you to stop clinging to the old one. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start experimenting. Start moving. Start trusting that the path reveals itself to the people who are brave enough to walk it without seeing the full road ahead. If you enjoyed this content and you want more videos on psychology and self-improvement, then consider subscribing. You can also check out other related videos in the description box below. So, dear, you're not as lost as you think. You're just closer to the next version of yourself than you realize.